Here is a truth most men spend years avoiding. The deepest wound you can leave on a woman who does not value you is not an argument. It is not anger. It is not even walking away in frustration. It is something quieter and far more powerful. It is her watching you live well without needing her approval at all. That is what cuts. And most men never figure this out. Somewhere along the way, you were told that if you give enough, if you stay loyal enough, if you love hard enough, she will eventually see your worth. But look around. The men who give the most are often the ones who end up with the least respect. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. And until you understand why that pattern exists, nothing in your relationships will change. Here is the uncomfortable part. Women do not value what comes without effort, not because they are cruel, but because no one values what feels guaranteed. And when you make yourself endlessly available, when you cancel your plans, the second she texts, when you pour everything into someone who gives you almost nothing back, you are not showing love. You are showing her that you have already decided you are worth less than you are, and she believes you. The first thing that changes everything is stopping the chase. Most men, when they feel a woman pulling away, do the worst possible thing. They chase harder. They explain more. They send messages trying to prove themselves. But every time you chase someone who is not running toward you, you confirm exactly what she already assumed. That you need her more than she needs you. A need without value is not attractive. It is a signal. And the signal you are sending is that her opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself. The man who stops chasing does not become cold. He becomes focused. He stops leaking energy into something that is draining him, and he puts it somewhere it actually returns something. His body, his work, his peace, his sense of direction. And that shift is felt immediately, not because he announced it, but because his whole presence changes. He stops reacting to her moods. He stops adjusting himself to keep her comfortable. And suddenly, she is the one doing the adjusting. When something is always available, it stops being valued. That is not about women specifically. That is human nature. If you answer every call the moment it rings, if you bend your entire life around her schedule, you are sending one message loud and clear. I have nothing more important going on than waiting for you, and that is not loyalty. That is a man who has lost himself trying to hold on to someone who never fully chose him. The second thing is understanding what silence actually does. When she disrespects you, when she ignores your effort, when she makes you feel like you are not enough, most men react. They argue. They demand to be heard. They send long explanations, hoping this time the words will finally land. But every time you react, you hand her proof. Proof that she still controls your emotional state. Proof that she can shake your frame whenever she feels like it. And as long as she has that proof, she has power over you. Silence removes that proof entirely. Silence says, I will not fight for a place in your life. Either I belong there or I do not. And that is not weakness. That takes more discipline than anything you could say out loud. It takes a man who is secure enough in himself that he does not need the last word. He does not need her to understand. He does not need closure from someone who was never fully present. Silence creates something words never can. It creates questions. She starts wondering why you are not reacting, why you are not chasing, why you seem unbothered. And that uncertainty is louder than any argument you could have started, because arguments give her something to push against. Silence gives her nothing but her own reflection. The third thing is the one that truly ends it. Outgrowing her, not to hurt her, not to make her jealous, not to prove a point, but because you finally decided to stop pouring your best energy into someone who never valued it. When you redirect that energy into your growth, your finances, your health, your confidence, your purpose, something changes permanently. You stop being the man she expected to always be there. You become someone she no longer fully recognizes. And that realization hits her in a way no conversation ever could. She thought you would always orbit her. She thought your need for her attention was guaranteed. She thought no matter how she treated you, you would still be there explaining yourself and waiting for her to come around. And then one day, you simply were not. You had already moved. You had already grown past the version of yourself that needed her approval to feel whole. And that is the moment she feels it. Not because you punished her, but because she finally understood what she had been standing next to the entire time. Here is what ties all of this together. The reason so many men get taken for granted is not because they are not good enough. It is because they stopped valuing themselves first. You cannot expect someone to respect what you have already discounted. Every time you chase validation instead of building something worth noticing, you are sending a message, and she is reading it clearly. The solution is not to give more. It is not to love harder or stay longer hoping things shift. The solution is to build yourself so completely that whether she stays or leaves nothing inside you collapses, not because you stopped caring, but because your foundation is no longer built on her opinion of you. Stop handing your worth to people who refuse to see it. A man who knows his value does not negotiate it. He does not explain it. He does not beg for it to be recognized. He simply lives it. And that kind of man, she will never forget him, even when she pretends otherwise.